Hello, welcome to this week's video. All right, so this video is going to be on when people get those deep cystic pimples, and they're usually around the jawbone area, the chin area. They can creep elsewhere. When I say cystic, it means that they don't have a white head on top. They've ruptured deep in the follicle and they're very angry, and they can be quite painful, and they're stubborn. And you also might see that they're secular. They might happen at certain times of the month for a female, and for a guy, it can even be adjusting in a 24-hour period. So they're very stubborn and they scar, and usually it comes with a lot of emotions because it's not your favorite experience. Acne is very emotionally draining because you're always not sure what you've done to trigger it. So I'm going to bring some light on the subject. So I'm going to come in from a hormonal point of view. So we have hormones called androgen. Androgen is part of the testosterone hormone, the male sex driving hormone, and we call this type of acne androgenic acne. So when it's that sort of cystic, which means that it's ruptured so deep, it's often triggered from the blood. And hormones are fantastic chemical messengers, and they're trying to communicate that we need to adjust something. So usually this is linked with insulin, which is that hormone that's made by the pancreas, and often it can be really solved through lifestyle. That's why it's so cool, and that's why I want to spend a moment just educating you on this. So there are often symptoms for androgen excess in the body, and I'll read them out to you. One is acne, and I see it more on these areas. We actually have more receptor sites on the oil glands sort of in these areas, so that's why you more commonly see that as a cause. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, or PCOS. Excess hair on the face or arms. Hypoglycemia, so blood sugar issues or unstable blood sugar, thinning hair on the head. Now, this is not genetically how you were born if you had thin hair. It's more that you're noticing the hair is thinning out. Infertility, so struggling to fall pregnant, and ovarian cysts. So when we have cysts occurring in endocrine organs, being our breasts, our ovaries, we're going to see these are another cofactors. And then mid-cycle pain for a woman. So if you're finding there's pain around ovulation, that will also be an indicator. So if you mark or relate to any of these, you probably want to have a listen to this. So how do we help our blood sugar? Because if it's a tell that our lifestyle choices means we're moving into what's called metabolic syndrome, which is so common today. We want to learn how to help it. So for me, first thing is focus on breakfast. When we wake up in the morning, our body is most insulin sensitive, which means we can use the food we eat. When we go to sleep at night, our body is most insulin resistant, which means it cannot use the food we eat. So what does the average person do out there? They wake up, they put stress in a cup in their body, caffeine, poof, off they go, and they're on their day. Yeah, and then they might eat something for lunch, or they just might not have time at all, and then they often put the big calories in at night. So you do this day in, day out. Can you see how that's going to start to cause some problems? They do this research. Now, this was on healthy males, and they found that those that skipped the breakfast, when they ate that second meal, the first meal at lunchtime, their insulin dramatically peaked, much higher than if they had a breakfast on board. Personally, I have played with this a lot. I used to do a lot of intermittent fasting, but I would fast breakfast. I still do intermittent fasting, but I fast an evening meal. So I focus on a really good breakfast with lots of fiber. So I use plant fiber. So my breakfast this morning was a really beautiful smoothie, and it had a big lemon and avocado. No, it didn't have avocado. It had blueberries, gotta think, some frozen blueberries, frozen banana. It has a couple of supplements. It had some mineral powder, some magnesium powder. It had calcium deglutinate for cleaning out excess estrogen, toxic xenoestrogens for my body. It had seeds, so pumpkin and sunflower, little splash of water in there, what else did I have? Oh, and I had 3 tablespoons of flax seeds. So all of those seeds are so good for your hormones. And I would probably put some organic silken tofu in there normally for the hormones as well. And these are going to work super well on the body. I want you to consider that when you eat food, we want protein. So I also had a lentil wrap, which had heaps of protein and fiber, and I rolled it up with a whole lot of fresh spinach in there as well. So that's got lots of fiber, and then the seeds have lots of fiber and protein and minerals, and then the soy has some protein. And then there's lots of antioxidants and cleansing from the lemon. So, you know, just thinking about my plate and what I'm consuming and how that's going to slow down the insulin reaction. The trick here is eating whole foods and making sure those whole foods are predominantly from plant sources and that they've got protein and lots of plant fibers and some healthy fats on board. So that is going to keep me for 5 hours, so I'm not going to need to eat snack. Every time we eat, it rises our insulin. So if we're snacking all day, it's rising our insulin. If I start my day, I'm dehydrated, that's going to stress out my hormones as well. So I make sure I get my 3 cups of water, and then I sort of start with a green drink, and then I have a hot cacao drink with protein, and then I have my meal. So this is done from rising. So I usually rise quite early at 4:40, and then I eat that meal at this morning was about 7:30, and then I'll eat again at 2, and then I'll have like a supplement drink, and I'll go to bed. So that will be my day. Now, some people, that's shocking because they eat all day. But remember, when you eat, mechanically the food goes to your stomach. It sits there for 5 hours, well, 4 hours, and then ideally stomach should get an hour break. That's nice, right? We all like a little break here and there. So if I snacked, it would have to stop doing what it was doing and start again. So sometimes people still have breakfast the next morning in their digestive system because their system has been interrupted all day. I heard a story of someone said, I had a 2-hour job today to get done, but I got so many interruptions, so I just didn't get it finished. And this is our digestive system. Our digestive system, she's the cleaner. She's like the house cleaner, and she comes in when the party's over. But if you start the party up again, she's going to leave, and the system starts to get really taxed. And this is what really throws out our hormones, because we're consuming often highly processed calorie foods, and often using a lot of the calories at the end of the day. So you can see how that's a problem from an insulin point of view, as well as many mechanical functions that will happen within your digestive system. So considering to focus on a really good breakfast, and then reducing things that are spiking your stress hormones. So I would consider swapping out caffeine for like a hot cacao drink. So it's still going to give you a little buzz, but I've got a recipe on my Instagram on using either collagen or a vegan protein. It's delicious. I have 100% success rate getting people off caffeine. Caffeine will affect you, the effects of it will stay in the system for 90 days. So giving yourself a 90-day cleanse or break, you probably won't go back on it. The key is to overcome evil with good. So switch that habit out for something better that's not going to put you on that roller coaster ride all day long, and something that's actually going to help your brain's ability to make good choices for the rest of the day. We think caffeine does that. It does not at all. Caffeine only comes with risks from a brain point of view. It does not come with benefits, and any benefits that might be marketed to you do not outweigh the risks. And I have found clients, once they're clean for 90 days, they are new people. Their hormones are so much more under control, their liver's so much healthy, everything from an energetical point of view, their personality is a lot more better. So there's just so many advantages to considering focusing on a really nourishing breakfast, a healthy lunch, and a small early dinner. So that's simply a lifestyle hack for your insulin. Another thing is when you wake up in the morning, getting bright light into your eyes. That bright light is going to help the serotonin hormone, the feel good, that hugging hormone. It's going to help you with your deeper sleep as well. So it's going to help tell the clock in your body that it's morning. So the brighter the light, as soon as you wake up, keeping that coming into the eye for as long as possible. So I simply get up early, I turn the brightest lights on, and I study, and then I start my day. So it is really, really helpful, and you'll find you'll sleep better, and that will really help your hormones as well. If you wake up and you don't have hunger, that's a tell that we need to work on that. It's a tell that that circadian rhythm, that clock for your hormones is a little bit off. And usually we fix that by just starting with a light smoothie at breakfast, something like I just discussed before. So trying to make sure we're hydrating away from mealtime, before meal times, so our stomach has an ability to function optimally, and that our brain is really clear and healthy so we can make good choices for our day. The key for androgenic acne is planning. Thinking about, what am I going to have for breakfast tomorrow? Trying to learn recipes that are really high in plants and fiber. And to not, if you're already on a really processed diet, to not just transfer to an extreme plant-based diet overnight, or adding heaps of plants in, because the system needs time to adjust. So just increasing fiber. So an easy thing I'd suggest doing is focus on 3 tablespoons of freshly ground flaxseed a day. So what I do there is I grind the flaxseed in bulk. The reason I grind them in my blender or in a coffee grinder is because once you grind them, the omega-3, it goes rancid or off really quick. So what you can do is you can grind it, put it in a Tupperware container with a lid in the freezer. And then you can just take that and dish that into your food. 3 tablespoons a day is going to really help. And trying to get that breakfast, that fiber, in no longer than 10 a.m. Ideally, we should be getting something in an hour on rising. So sometimes I use my hot cacao protein drink before training to help with that, just to get that protein to calm my insulin down so I can get some training done and then sit down to my healthy breakfast. So that is my hot tip this week. So encouraging everyone to consider a healthy fiber-rich breakfast and hydrating their body super well before it. All right, have a great week. See ya.